Your sleep hygiene might be ruining your life. Let me explain. To understand the context, we need to go back 1,000 years ago, when there were three sources of light. Throughout the day, there is the sun. Throughout the night, there is the moon and the stars. Then we had the artificial lights, which is the candles. One pattern that you can see here is that the nights were dark, and this is the door that loads of our nowadays problem might be fixed by opening it. A lot of modern people today are suffering from energy problems, which can be caused by a poor sleep hygiene. So first thing first, we need to know what is sleep. Sleep is a state of rest on the three aspects of health, which are physical, mental, and social rest. And various religions and cultures name it death. So what is about this phenomenon that made a lot of people throughout history try to challenge it? And why is it the reason behind most of nowadays problems? For me personally, my sleep got messed up since 2020. For the first time in my life, overnight became a casual thing for me to do. Throughout exam periods, I couldn't help but find myself studying at night and sleeping at daytime. And that gave me a lot of problems. One of them is that when I had to pass the exam, I passed it in the hours that I usually sleep in. So that made me not being able to focus enough in the exams. And also the aftermath is that I had so many struggles to bring my sleep to the normal state. And I was always asking myself why the people have a sleep hygiene that is sufficient with human nature. Despite me learning and studying about sleep and what happens to the brain when we sleep, I couldn't really find the answer. But lately, I think that I understood something that I can actually make it to reality. So today, I'm going to show you how to improve your sleep hygiene, and I'm gonna make it to two parts in the same video. The first part is for the people that have a free time, whether in holidays or they're not working or studying. The second part is for the people that are currently working or studying. So let's start with the people that have free time. The first thing that you need to know is that for a better sleep hygiene, you need to sleep when it first gets dark. So like that, you wake up when it first gets light. Of course, there is another thing that you can do is wake up before it gets lit, which is before dawn or at dawn. And this is also a good thing to do, whether you want to pray or meditate or any other thing. Another thing that you need to keep in mind, which is very key about sleep hygiene, is a hormone called cortisol. So cortisol, as an easy way to explain it to you, it's like adrenaline. It gives you the energy that you need throughout the day. And it's gifted for humans that the cortisol reaches the highs throughout the high exposure of midday, when the sun is fully exposed. Something that we take from it is that when there is that good lighting, our body gets energized. And what's the problem is that nowadays we have a lot of artificial lights that gives us similar exposure to midday exposure. And that messes with our body's regulations. There is something that is called chronological timing, which is a time in your body when he knows when to sleep, when to wake up, and when to do a certain things. And your body is regulated in a way that is optimal with a daylight exposure. Let me simplify it for you. So the sun has so many stages, and the colors of the exposure changes throughout the day. As an example, at dawn, the sun seems to be white. At midday, the exposure is more of a blue color, and that's when we are more energized. And at the end of the day, at sunset, the colors are more warm. And after that, we have the darkness of the night. And that's why a lot of resources suggest that you reduce the blue light exposure before your sleep. But there is another thing that you should keep in mind, is that for better sleep, you don't need just to cut off the blue light, which is a good suggestion because it gives to your body the signal that is sunset, so he's preparing for sleep. But for an actual better sleep, you need to cut off all sorts of light. There is a high chance of you having a busy schedule at that time, and you have a few things to do. And that is why it's necessary to prioritize your work over the day, so when it gets dark, your priority is to sleep. However, now let's go to the second part, which is for the people that are working or studying. We all know that when studying, especially at exam periods or when we're working, sometimes we sacrifice our sleep because of what we do. We prioritize our studies, our work over our sleep. And that might be necessary sometimes. As an example, in exams period, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of your sleep, but make sure that you are not sacrificing your studies as well. And this is the interesting part. Sleep is your body's mechanism to rest physically and mentally as well. So you restore your energy, you refresh. And there is another thing, which is about memory. There is a theory about sleep, that in sleep, it gets a filtration of knowledge that you got throughout the day. So in your sleep, your brain filters informations to two types. One of them is essential. One of them is unessential. The essential is what you will keep with you. So from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. What is unessential, it will get eliminated. Otherwise, if we remember everything throughout the day, we will remember a lot of unuseful details that we go through. So this is a mechanism, especially if you're studying and you want to improve your memorization. You have to have a good amount of sleep. And the same thing goes if you're working. Try as much as you can to not sacrifice the hours of sleep that you need. And there is another thing that you have to keep in mind, is that the hours of sleep is different from a person to person. And even for the same person, the hours of sleep that you need might differ based on the things that you do throughout the day, whether it's physical activity or mental activity, etc. And there is not a set amount of hour, as an example, 8 hours of sleep, that is optimal for everyone. You might need 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, or you might need 6 hours. It depends on you and your situation at the actual time. So as a summary of all of the details that we talked about, is that to better your sleep hygiene, try as much as you can to prioritize your sleep. When it gets dark, sleep. Even if you're not sleepy, try to sleep. That will better your sleep hygiene and as well as your memorization skill and your energy throughout the day. I hope that I've helped you to have and improve a better sleep hygiene. And as always, heal, teach, and inspire. See you in the next one.